Good afternoon, Sean Kingery from the Kaiser Automotive Group from sunny Wisconsin. I'd like to welcome everybody to Madison. I got to tell you, we have a great day planned ahead. I hope you enjoy. First of all, I need to thank BG for setting this up and allowing this to happen and allowing Ted and the Fixed Ops Roundtable to go mobile and to see what happens behind dealerships on every end of the country. I need to thank Ted Ings, obviously, for making all this for putting all this together and making us all understand what makes fixed operation work. Today, you're going to see some partner relationships that we have and how they're integral in making this business operation work. You're also get to see what made me move from Florida to Wisconsin to understand that, you're going to meet the Baxters, the three brothers who quite frankly are a very unique situation where they all have their own role and their own position, and it just flows. It just works. You'll get to meet a technician panel, a female service manager panel. 4 of our 8 service managers are females. You'll also get to meet a female service advisor panel that work here at the mothership. Hopefully you'll understand by the end of the day what makes Kaiser tick, and again, why there are so many 40-year employees that just don't leave. Thank you again for watching. Thank you, Ted Ings. Thank you, BG, and I hope you enjoy.
Welcome to the Fixed Ops Roundtable pop-up event. This event is exclusively sponsored by BG Products, partners beyond products. Now, on with the live event.
Welcome to the Fixed Ops Roundtable pop-up event. I am Ted Ings. We are here today in beautiful Madison, Wisconsin. We are at the Kaiser Automotive Group. We are with the leaders of the Kaiser Group, the Kaiser family. Gentlemen, welcome. And if you would, please introduce yourself and tell us what you do here.
Thanks, Ted. Ryan Baxter. I'm the Vice President of Variable Operations here at the Kaiser Automotive Group.
Ted, I'm Sean Baxter, President.
And I'm Brendan Baxter, Vice President of Marketing.
Wow. Well, very impressive. Thank you for having us in today. Thank you for having the audience here. Wow. The last 24 hours spent here with Sean Kingery, with your group on the ground. You got a lot going on. So give us a little background. Sean, if you would, your family's been in the business for quite a few years. We see there's a 1951 vehicle behind us. Tell us the story about your family and how you got into the business.
Great. Yeah. So our father really started us in this business. He was a CPA by trade and doing dealership accounting, realized I think I can do that. And so he found a dealership here in Madison, Wisconsin, where we all grew up, and said, I'm going to go out on my own and buy a dealership. So in 1985, that's exactly what he did. Kaiser Ford at the time was a single standalone Ford dealer, largest in the state of Wisconsin. And from there, he has helped us grow the company. We're now a collection of 8 dealerships, all domestic, American-made, all in Wisconsin. And for the first time in its almost 100-year history, it's being led by 3 brothers, sibling partnership that we're really, really proud of.
Wow. Gentlemen, what was it like growing up with the car business? Because obviously that's what you did.
Well, it's part of who we are. You can't go anywhere. You can't introduce yourself to anybody without, kind of referring to being a car dealer, being in the business. So it's fun. It's one of the most engaging, exciting businesses I think I've ever been around, and just really feel blessed to have been born into it, so to speak.
And Brendan, a lot of change going on in the business as well.
Oh, it's drastic, and it's fun to be a part of it. Seeing it from back,
37 years ago coming into this, picking up cigarette butts around one lot and, Christmas morning bringing all the trash to the store and brushing off snow off cars. So from going to that and to where we are now with the digital age is just mind-blowing.
So your dad got you involved at an early age at the dealership, and you spent a lot of time in the business as well. Is that right?
Yeah, Brendan alluded to it, but I think we all had our first job when we were about 6. That job on Saturday mornings was picking up all the time. Back then, everybody smoked. And the job was picking up all the butts around the rocks that around all the entrances. We might have been the only ones to ever hold that job, but we did it well, and that set us on a course to where we are today.
And what's the history with the vehicle behind us here? 1951 Ford.
Right. So 51 was the year our father was born. And I think when he decided to go do some other things as his life progressed, one of those things was getting into the cattle business. And so in Southwest Wisconsin, he started a Red Angus cattle ranch, and he bought this truck to be his town truck. And this is what he would go to town and get feed and other things for the ranch, which actually still exists down in Southwest Wisconsin. And so that's where he goes to have fun, and that's certainly where we like to go.
This is a funny story about the history of this truck and the provenance of this truck is that he bought it at Barrett-Jackson. And if you know Barrett-Jackson, I'm sure you do, people take, these cars are mint. And so he went back to the tent after he bought it, and he's talking to the consignor, and he goes, what are you going to do with it? He goes, I'm going to take it to my cattle ranch. Oh, hey. I almost lost it.
So for our audience who's not here in Wisconsin, give us the lay of the land. How many dealerships, what franchises, and I know you're growing as well. There's been a couple that you've added along the way.
Sure. So we, as I mentioned, we're a collection of 8 automotive dealerships all throughout Wisconsin, headquartered here in Madison. We have dealerships in Sauk City, Watertown, and Green Bay, and most recently added Janesville, just south of Madison, a large Chevrolet Buick GMC dealership. So at those 8 stores, we represent all the major domestic brands, and we're really proud of that. That's a decision we made as brothers about 10 years ago to divest from all of our import brands, no offense, and really focus on what we think we did best, and that was sell and service American-made automobiles. And so today, as we look forward as a partnership, that's where our growth is going to be, certainly, and we'll talk about it in a minute here specifically. But as we look to grow, it's in that domestic automotive retail environment in the state of Wisconsin.
Wow. And gentlemen, Sean, you've also are known for your community involvement here at the Kaiser Automotive Group. Speak to us a little bit about that, because you do a whole lot for the community.
Sure. And this sounds cliche, probably, Ted, but our father would always tell us that we must support the communities that support our stores and our dealerships, and certainly help us support the people that support us with our staff. And so that has led us to a life of philanthropy. We expect to be great corporate citizens in any community that we go into. And as you know, and a lot of our colleagues around the country know, car dealerships are a big part of that community. A lot of activity, a lot of sales, a lot of depending on those dealerships for keeping their cars running right. So we take that seriously. And whether it's the hospitals that are in the community all the way down to the Little League teams, we want the Kaiser brand to be out there, to be trusted, and to be respected throughout all the communities that we do serve.
One of the things I noticed, gentlemen, is here you've got a career path for your employees. And I'd like each of you to speak to that, if that's okay. Ryan, first with you. What is the career path? Why everywhere I go here between the dealerships, you've got employees who've been here for many years. So this obviously has to be a pretty good place to work.
Yeah, I mean, I think if we do anything well here at Kaiser, I think one thing we do really, really well is identifying what everybody's dream is. I mean, if you can show someone that their dream could be achieved by working at one of your dealerships, and you can award them in various compensation modes. Obviously, financial is what everybody comes down to, but there's a lot of different compensation that people look for, right? Emotional compensation, being proud of where they work. So we really focus on all the different types of compensation, if you will, but also figuring out what that dream is. Is it a, vacation home up in northern Wisconsin? Is it to be, a service advisor coming from, a loop tech? Whatever it is, if you can show that dream could be achieved at your dealership, I think you give people no reason to look at anywhere else.
I love it. Sean?
Just piling on to what Ryan said, I think the ability to give people what they want, show them how we can provide them what they want, is ultimately how we're going to get what we want. And so that's really a focus. And if you look at some of our dealerships, we've got folks in the 40 and 50-year tenure with our dealerships, folks that have been working at Kaiser longer than we've all been alive, which is pretty special when we get to shake their hands when they retire and see the commitment that they made. We've got a lot of multi-generational families, that father, son, mother, daughter that work in our stores. So that says a lot. I think, to Ryan's point, the intangible piece about a career path, we certainly invest in our people, and we've got training and we've got mentorship programs specifically on the fixed op side that we can get into later. All of that's great, but I think much like the retail environment, you've got to provide something that's intangible that keeps people wanting to come up and get up and come to work every day, deliver that world-class experience for our guests. It's got to be more than financial. It's got to be more than money, and a lot of that comes down to the culture and the people that we surround them with at the store.
And I could feel that culture. Brendan,
Well, Ted, one thing that I'm proud of for our whole store or our whole group is the development of our technician mentorship program. And so we wanted to reach out to local high schools and give them a road to the future of, what a dealership life looks like. And you might say, well, I'm going to go to college and do what? Whereas you can go into step one of our program and progress through that. And you can see, 20, 30, 40 years later where that really stacks up. And I think showing it as simple as it is on paper or on a website of that step-by-step program and what that can mean. Yes, there's financial steps in there like Sean and Ryan have alluded to, but it's also a sense of achievement. You can go to college and do 4 years and you come out, you're doing something completely different. Whereas this is showing, hey, I started here and I can see exactly where I came from. That's pretty special.
it certainly is. To your point, you recently, it seems to me, began a expanded initiative on fixed operations. You brought in one of the best in the country, Sean Kingery, to lead fixed operations here at Kaiser Automotive Group. Why, Sean, did you do that? What's the reason behind it? What's the thinking? And what do you see as you look out into the future for fixed operations?
Sure. Ted, I think the data we looked at said in the United States, we started this year with over 285 million cars on the road. The average age of those cars, 12 and a half years. That's the most. Both of those are the highest in history. So what does that say? As we look to plan our future, that says that's more mechanical breakdowns. That's more accidents. That's more gear hits. That's more body work. That's more oil changes, more tires, more brakes, more service, more parts, more fixed operations. So that's the future we see. And the investments we're making in the future start with people, as you mentioned, with Sean Kingery. But I think the brick and mortar decisions we're making in the future is really going to expand the capacity we have to serve that community, that need that we see building in the future. So you'll see that happen around our stores. We're in the midst of 2 different building projects today. And I can tell you just from our limited experience, the way we're designing a dealership for tomorrow is much different than the dealership you're sitting in today.
I love it. Well, we are looking forward to meeting with the people of Kaiser. We're going to have panels today with your technicians, parts, the ladies of the organization, and a whole lot more. Before we do, we're moving forward with an initiative at the Roundtable to certify the best dealers in the nation. So what we'd like to do today is present you, gentlemen, with our Certified Dealer Award from the Fixed Ops Roundtable. And Sean Kingery is coming in with that now and present that to you. So gentlemen, congratulations on behalf of the Fixed Ops Roundtable for becoming a certified dealer group here at the Roundtable.
Thank you, Ted.
Thank you, Jed.
And so looking forward to it. Looking forward to all the great things we have today at the pop-up and learning more about the Kaiser Automotive Group. Stay with us, everybody. We're in Wisconsin. We're at the Kaiser Automotive Group with the leaders, and that we're going to hear today from the people. We'll be right back. Welcome back to the Fixed Ops Roundtable. I am Ted Ings. We're here at the Kaiser Automotive Group in beautiful Madison, Wisconsin. Sean Kingery is with me. Sean is the Vice President of Fixed Operations. Sean, I'm learning a whole lot about your organization.
It's a great organization, and I'm blessed up here. So out of the 8 stores that we have 4 female service managers. And today we have 2 of them. I'll introduce yourself.
I'm Christina. I'm the service manager at SL Motors in Pulaski, Wisconsin. I'm Samantha. I'm the service manager at Kaiser Chrysler in Sauk City.
So I don't have to tell you, ladies, that it is not every day that we have women as service managers. Congratulations. But you know what? We also want to highlight women as dealers as well, because the automotive industry is a great place for a career. Tell us a little bit your career path, Christina, and how you got where.
I actually started out right after high school. I joined a dealership, a small town dealership, and worked my way from being the receptionist all the way up to a service advisor, and did that for several years. Moved on to another dealership, a little bit bigger one, did it for a while, and moved up to a warranty administrator. And then I was promoted to a service manager. So I've been in a service manager position for over 12 years.
Okay, and all those steps along the way, how valuable is that to have been a warranty administrator? And
They're very valuable because then you get to know what all the steps are in the process of the day that go on, what that other person is feeling throughout the day, and kind of just a general idea of what's all going on throughout the whole dealership through the whole day.
Fantastic, Samantha. Yourself?
I also started out right out of high school as a service advisor. Was at a Ford dealership for about 10 years there, and then did warranties for a couple of years out of my house for them. And then I was at another dealer for about 10 years as well. After my 8-month or so time as a service advisor at my first store, I was promoted to service manager. So I've been a service manager about 22 years now. So it just kind of, I did stay home for a little while with my kids.
Sure.
And when I started to look for a job again, I went right back to the automotive industry. It just kind of fell in my lap, and that was what I was supposed to do. So here I am.
Fantastic. So, ladies, speak to us a little bit about, the challenges, okay, and the opportunities, okay, of being a woman in retail automotive, because I think a lot of folks are not aware about all the opportunities that are there, but there also are some unique challenges that I'm sure you face along the way as well.
We do have some challenges throughout the day. Like I said, we have some customers when I first started out, that didn't feel women belonged in this position, that it was in the male industry. But everyone has come a long ways. It's been nice. Everyone's accepted everything and made everyone feel comfortable, and I feel comfortable. And I have a great team behind me at work. They're all supportive. They don't make you feel uncomfortable if you're struggling with something or feel uncomfortable or need help. Everyone here at the dealership is willing to help. Nobody pushes you aside or anything like that.
And as a follow-up question, I'll come to both of you on this. As a follow-up, from a customer's perspective, when the customer comes in, because most of the decisions, I believe, in the world are made by the woman, okay? Does it speak volumes when we have women represented who are on the service drive, who are in management, to a customer, especially a female customer, who may feel more comfortable, dealing with a woman than a man?
Oh, we've had a lot of our female customers make that comment that they do feel more comfortable. I actually, at my store, my service advisor team is all females.
Really?
They are. I have one main shop technician that does come forward. If we have a customer that prefers to talk to a male, he will come up and interact with the customer and make them feel more comfortable. But yes, I'm proud to say that my whole team is all females.
I love it. What a strong message. And same question. Challenges that may have happened along the way and some of the opportunities.
With me being service manager, pretty much from the beginning, I did have a lot of challenges because back then it was, late 90s. And that was just when women were kind of starting to get into this role. And there were a lot of older men that they would just downright say, I don't want to talk to you. And so that took me into more of like a challenging mode where I said, well, just give me a chance. And I would explain to them. And, over a couple of times of them coming in, they really realized that it's really not something that a woman can't understand. So it's a fun challenge for me. to be able to prove people wrong that, everybody is capable of doing anything.
We have heard so many stories at these pop-up events of ladies at the dealership who have risen through the ranks, just as the men have as well, because there's a career path. If I could, Christina, speak to our audience, the people watching, ladies watching who are maybe considering a career in retail automotive. What advice and what would you want to tell them if you had this opportunity right now?
I would just say don't hold back. If it's your dream, just go for it because there's nothing we can't do.
That's right.
Yeah, and here's the message as well.
The main message is a lot of women won't even give it a chance. And it is really something that you can put your heart into because, especially me as a mom, I kind of use that as my type of leadership. I want to guide everybody into the right direction. If that's what they're willing to do, everybody's absolutely capable of doing it. Doesn't matter what gender you are.
Sean, what a great message from you.
It is a great message. Ted, I am blessed because out of the 4 female service managers we have, all 4 are unique. Where Christina was here when I got here. Samantha came, we recruited her along the way. We've got one that was promoted from within, and we've got another one that we acquired a store. So you have 4, we're all the way across the rainbow with it, where we've got it all covered. And it's unique. I'm very blessed with the 2 of these. I talk to them pretty much every day, via text or whatever. We have a lot of fun. I think we have fun. We try to have fun.
We do.
We try to stay as within boundaries as we can. But, Ted, these 2, listen, it's not me that makes it work. It's these guys that make it.
Final question for today. Opportunities to grow within the retail automotive business. I know when I started off in the business, I didn't realize that so many opportunities in sales, service, parts, but there's finance, there's logistics, there's all and you can divide parts up into wholesale parts and now online parts and retail parts. What do you see as for people looking out into the future as we're getting into more of a digital age? Okay, people interacting on their phones. Do you still consider this to be a very viable career path for people looking, to have a career in automotive?
I believe it is a viable one. I mean, we're still going to have the hands-on with the cars and the technicians. So I see viable, yes.
Yeah, as long as, the Kaiser group, especially just because I was in 2 smaller dealers and then moving into Kaiser and the impact that they have on taking on all of the new technologies and all of the new things like with dealer pay and all that kind of stuff, it really gives us the opportunity to just continue moving forward with and grow with them.
Well, ladies, congratulations. It's a great honor to have you both here today at the event and to hear your stories and just amazing. So everybody, if you would, stay with us. We have a lot more coming up on the great people from the Kaiser Automotive Group. We're in Madison, Wisconsin at the Fixed Ops Roundtable. We will be right back. Welcome back to the Fixed Ops Roundtable. I am Ted Ings. We are here at the Kaiser Automotive Group in Madison, Wisconsin. Sean, I'm learning a lot about your people, the organization. And by the way, I can see why you came to Wisconsin. What great weather here today.
Right. Amazing weather here. And it's not that bad in the winter either. We gets to it.
Well, we've got some friends here, and we're really fortunate, to have Julie and Bill here with us today.
Right. I'll let him, Julie, we'll start with you. Will you introduce yourself?
Sure. Julie Douglas. I'm the president and CEO of Dealer Pay, otherwise known as the sales lady extraordinaire.
And she is, by the way, she lives up to that billing for sure.
Very good. I'm Bill Sepik. I'm the president of the Wisconsin Automobile and Truck Dealers Association.
Wow. So it is not Julie and Bill, it's not every day we get the president of the State Dealer Association. Julie, you know Bill.
I do. I've known him for several years. Dealer Pay, my company, is endorsed as his preferred vendor.
Julie and I partner very well. She has a company that my dealers just gravitate towards, and it's exciting to work with her.
So, Bill, give us the lay of the land here in Wisconsin about approximately how many automotive dealers.
Or certainly north of 600 rooftops, somewhere between 600 and 700. We represent not only the franchised auto dealers, but we also represent the heavy-duty truck dealers, the RV dealers, motorcycle dealers, and independent car dealers.
And do you know the people here at Kaiser Automotive Group?
Very well. Sean Baxter is one of our board members. This is a staple in the Madison community. They represent our industry very, very well.
Wow. So, Sean, I would say maybe it's about a year and a half, 2 years ago, we saw Julie Douglas burst onto the scene with Dealer Pay, with modern payment convenience. But you know what, Julie, it's not like you've just started doing this. You've been doing this for a while, and now it's just getting recognized, especially on the fixed operation side. You're in this dealer space. Tell us a little bit more about Dealer Pay.
Sure. So I started in the payment space just shy of 25 years ago, believe it or not, and sold my first dealership in St. Louis, a Nissan dealer. Loved how it went, loved how the operations, because again, a dealership is multiple departments or businesses under one roof. So providing payment acceptance in all the departments is very important to dealerships. So I loved how it went. I loved the people I worked with. So I just kept going. Being from the Midwest, it obviously made sense to connect with Bill and some other state associations that we're endorsed with. So Dealer Pay is very fortunate to have those relationships, and that's kind of how we work, is based on relationships.
And Julie, our industry, all industries are changing because technology is rapidly changing. You know, today, the way we do business is not the way we did 5 or 10 years ago. I don't know about you, Bill, but I use my phone for a lot of things today.
Everything.
And a lot of the old ways in dealerships, in the way, for example, that they paid for services, Julie, has become outdated. Talk to us and speak to us about that.
Sure. So, traditionally a dealership would have a standalone payments terminal on a service advisor's desk, maybe a cashier, maybe finance, where the customer would come in, do their thing on the terminal, and that'd be it. Nowadays, especially addressing the convenience factor, that's just not good enough. And the reason it's not good enough is customers need to be on the go. They need to be able to pay for their parts ticket or their service ticket or even a deposit or down payment on the go, whether they're at home. And even if they do want to come in, the technology behind payment acceptance has changed drastically in the last 10, 12 years.
Sean, you are bringing a lot of new technology and some of the best technology in the world here to the Kaiser Automotive Group. Our good friend Tully Williams talks about how, historically for many years when a customer pays their service bill, they go to the cashier window, they go down the hall, make a right, and then make a left and wait online to pay their bill. Correct. Sean, that's not the future, is it?
It's not the future. It does tie into the same thing as we say trade, where you have to schedule an appointment what's convenient for the client. You also have to bill when it's convenient for the client. Customers have to pick up after hours. How do you do that if you're sending them, if you're pointing them down the 3 hallways aimlessly to the cashier if the cashier's not there? If they could pay online, they have other ways to pay, more convenient ways to pay, that's convenient for the client, that's the future.
And Sean, you've seen it before where a customer paying that bill has questions, and now they're a bit online, they're waiting for the cashier, they're up at the window, they've got questions, and who do they got to call over but it's the advisor, right?
You have a minimal rate, and I don't mean when I say that, cashier who can't answer the questions. They're not qualified, they don't know, and quite frankly, they're not paid to answer the question.
So Julie, Dealer Pay addresses a lot of this and a whole lot more.
Yes. So we're going to give the power to the advisor a little bit more
to complete the transaction and offer that payment to the customer in various ways. So having that convenience, which is, again, the last experience they have at the dealership, is very important.
Yeah, and that's going to affect the CSI. And you and I talked about that many times.
Yes.
So, Bill, here in Wisconsin, any dealers using Julie's service at Dealer Pay, and is she involved with anything?
Oh, certainly. Julie has been a fantastic partner. We've been able to endorse her product. That is putting our seal of approval on what they do and marketing that then to our entire membership. As you've heard Julie just say, it's experience. She was talking about the customer experience. The experience, so between her and the dealerships, that is what cinches the deal for our folks.
You know, Bill, it's interesting. I mentioned to Sean that, you know, it seemed like Julie burst onto the scene just a little while ago, but really she's been laying the groundwork for many, many years in having the best product out there. Julie, when you first came on the Roundtable, what I thought was interesting that you had the service or product that nobody had talked about it before. And you got a lot of attention, all right? A lot of attention from folks who said, you know what? I realize that's something I need. We're an early adopter, or maybe even the second or third wave. We want to go ahead and take a look at that. So tell us about when you work with a dealer, do you work just one dealer group? Do you work with medium-sized, large dealer groups? Tell us about that.
Sure. So traditionally, payment acceptance has just been a commodity. It's not anymore. So, you know, dealers are looking for alternative ways to collect receivables, but also take care of their customers in various fashions. But yes, Dealer Pay, we started out just one dealer at a time, and that's really how we do business today. We do business with multi-locations, even some rather large groups. So we're really proud of the products that we put in the dealers. And again, Bill mentions relationships. You know, it's not every day I walk into a dealership and I get the business right away. But we tend to keep up and follow up and really address how can we solve your problems more so than buy this, buy that type of approach.
I pay for a lot of things I mentioned on the phone, but I use, you know, outside of the traditional credit card, which, Sean, I imagine a lot of service bills, most of them are paid that way.
Right.
Julie, I use things like Venmo, I use PayPal, and I would imagine customers want to pay for the service bill in other ways like that as well. Can you address that?
Yeah, so Dealer Pay is all payment acceptance. So everything, credit card processing, debit card processing, Venmo, PayPal, we even have a check component, and we've recently added a buy now, pay later partner as a tender type. So basically, when a customer, for example, we send them a payment request by text or email, they're going to say, oh, I have all these ways to pay. And it just makes it much easier. And then the dealership, when they get paid, they have the easiest way to reconcile those payments as well.
Sean, you're going to make this super convenient for customers here at Kaiser.
And for the employees, quite frankly.
Mm-hmm.
It really is. Especially, you know, I'm going to take one off of Tully Williams. If the controller happy, if the controller's happy, everybody's happy. And, you know, now you don't have the accounts payable person going around to every writer in the morning, who took this credit card, who took this credit card, or to F&I from a deposit from the night before. It solves all of those problems.
Yeah.
And typically, we don't look forward to those visits, okay?
They're not the most friendly people. Hypothetically.
So, yes. All right. Well, stay with us, everybody. Julie Douglas and Bill are here, both here. Julie with Dealer Pay, Bill with the Dealer Association here in Wisconsin. We're with Sean Kingery at the Kaiser Automotive Group at the pop-up event. We will be right back.
The Clean Air Car Care campaign is BG's green initiative designed to promote the BG Platinum fuel system service, which has been proven to reduce harmful emissions. Additional services featured in the campaign include the BG Platinum 44K service, which restores fuel economy, and the BG Climate Control service that will refresh the air inside your customers' vehicles. Advisors can match the service with the customer's biggest concern. Is it performance and fuel economy? Is it the environment and emissions? Or is it the air quality inside their vehicle? The services offered with the Clean Air Car Care campaign will provide your customers with clean air both inside and outside of their vehicles. Talk to your BG distributor about how to sell more services with BG Clean Air Car Care.
Welcome back to the pop-up event here at the Fixed Ops Roundtable. We are at the Kaiser Automotive Group in Madison, Wisconsin. We are at the Ford dealership. Sean, I believe you referred to it as the main or the mothership.
The mothership. This is the mothership store. And to be very honest, in fixed operations for service, it's not me that makes it happen. It's really not the service manager to make it happen. It's the people we have on this panel.
Yep, your people do make it happen. I've been very impressed with your people. We had an amazing panel with women service managers and now service advisors. So, ladies, if you would, introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about what you do and how long.
Well, my name is Veronica, and we're in the express lane, quick lane. I've just been doing it for about a year now. I'm Alex. I started here about 5 years ago. I started in the quick lane or the express lane, and I moved up to service almost 2 years ago.
My name is Jessica. I am a service writer here. I started out as a porter and moved up to service writing about 7 years ago.
Sean, I'm curious, when you started off in the car business some years ago,
Yes.
how did you start off?
29 years ago, my first job out of the Marine Corps, I started as a service writer. And then 8 months later, I got a store and eventually 7 stores, which grew to 26. But whatever. I started as a service writer in the car business and had no idea what I was doing, by the way. So still don't. That's all right. I still don't. That's all right.
Ladies, we've heard a lot from Kaiser leadership and on the panels today about the fact that there is a career path here. And it sounds like you've all experienced that career path. Talk to us a little bit about that. Is that an important ingredient, for someone, looking for a career in automotive from your perspective? I'll start over here at the end.
I would say so. I just graduated high school not too long ago, 2020. So I just started right out of high school. I actually worked over at Complete and here, but I would say it's pretty important. It's definitely something that you can grow in, like Alex and Jessica both did. They both started somewhere, or you're able to work your way up into the company. So it's just, yeah, no, I agree, definitely. I mean, I started out right out of high school. I obviously didn't start here at Kaiser. I started at like a private dealership in the hometown that I grew up in. And I did not start in service. I was kind of behind the scenes in sales, but was able to then from there go to a private shop where I started my first job as an advisor, and then came here, like I said, started in the quick lane, and then got promoted eventually up to service.
I do agree as well. You start out wherever you get your foot in the door, and there's endless possibilities that you can go to. I prefer not to go any further than a mat.
Well, on that note, if I can, ladies, do you feel that a woman, and by the way, we've met a lot of very successful women around the country who are retail service advisors. Do you feel that a woman has an advantage, by being in that service advisor role?
I would say to an extent, yeah. I mean, times have definitely changed a lot. Like I've noticed, especially other females when they come in for service, that they're more comfortable sometimes talking to a female. I'd say here, even, the male advisors we have are very respectful, and they don't, put anybody down. But overall, I would say to be a female, there are obstacles you have to overcome over time. But overall, yeah, there's definitely a good thing.
And how about having started off in the quick lane as an advisor, starting off your career? What are your thoughts on that?
Well, in the quick lane, I would have to agree with Alex that I have another female coworker down there, and I have one male coworker. So I would say that to the customers, I wouldn't say gravitating more towards us, but they definitely were more reasonable with them. I would feel that like the female presence was comfortable to talk to. So I think, yeah, exactly. So I think that would be kind of an advantage. But then you do have some of those customers that I would rather talk to a man, or we don't know what we're talking about because we're women. So there's always that too. Yes.
And your thoughts on that?
I think it's a daily basis. You still struggle every day as a woman in this atmosphere. Mm-hmm. A lot of guys will come in and they will come directly to Alex or myself and say, hey, I'm meeting with John.
Mm-hmm.
Well, John's desk is right there. His nameplate is right there.
Mm-hmm.
So he will still come. They will still come.
Take me through a day in the life of a service advisor. What are some of the things that you do? I was here this morning early, just before I saw the door come up, for customers. But, what are some of the things that you do? Because I know Sean has been implementing some new technologies and things that kind of make that job a little bit easier. And also, make that less stressful for you and for the customers as well. Like, take me through the day of the life of a service advisor. What are some things that you do?
Oh, goodness. We are still transitioning into using the outsourced scheduling. So we are still scheduling appointments. We're still answering phone calls, helping with the customers as they come in for their appointments. We work very closely with our technicians to give the customers back their information that they need.
Mm-hmm. Okay. What else?
Well, I guess a day in the life of us, I mean, it starts usually around 7 a.m. when we open up, let customers in, get them checked in, go over the concerns they have for their vehicles. We do offer a shuttle service usually in the Madison area on certain services. We have started to offer a pickup delivery, so sometimes that's also stuff we have to get arranged in the morning. Hand off the paperwork over to dispatch and follow it throughout the day.
And would a quick lane service advisor handle as many customers a day, or would they handle more customers a day?
But I think so, just because the quick lane is, I think, kind of set up for people to just come in whenever they want to kind of get quick things like oil changes, tire rotates, batteries, tire plugs, those kinds of things. For the main service does more couple day jobs where they have to diagnose vehicles and look at different noises and those kind of things. So I would say that we do more, but they're easier jobs, I would say.
Okay. Sean, are there any things that you do or coming in the pipeline to help encourage women, in retail automotive as being part of the Kaiser organization?
I think it's more support. I mean, and again, doing this for 29 years, and Jessica, I'll lean on you a little bit on this one, is, you used to hear the day, I want to talk to somebody who knows what they're talking about. I think those are getting fewer and far between. I mean, less and less. And, we have the female service manager panel we had up here, where we have 2 drives that are basically all females, the entire staff. And so now that's becoming less and less, but I think you have to support them. You have to understand that. You have to respect that. And you have to, when that happens, you got to stand behind them. That's not okay behavior. And as long as they know you'll do that, I think that goes a long way.
We are seeing a lot of dealerships around the country who have become quickly all female service advisor staff. And I mean, not small dealerships. I'm thinking of Liza Borges, Carter Myers Automotive, who has 25 dealerships. She is the dealer, all right? And she not only encourages women, but has in many of her dealerships all female staff as service advisors and has made that a career path. Now, service managers, and now one who just recently became the general manager of a store, who started off as a service advisor. So I see a lot of opportunity and a lot of things happening. And last question, if a customer were to come into a dealership and there are not women, okay, they're coming in for service and they realize that it's all male dominated, there are no women, does that send a message as well to the customer if there are no women in that position?
I think to an extent nowadays, but the way the world's changing a little bit, it's definitely helpful, I think, to have women in the role now in service advising. If you walked in where you could feel a little, I guess, off if they didn't have a woman up there at all.
And you got to have a tough skin being in this business.
Yeah.
Man or woman. I think. But the opportunities exist, okay? And, it's a great industry to grow. And as you said, our industry is changing quite a bit as well.
Absolutely.
All right. So we're here with the Kaiser Automotive Group, everybody. We're here in Madison, Wisconsin. We're at the pop-up event with Sean Kingery. Don't go away. We're going to be right back. Stay with us. Welcome back to the Fixed Ops Roundtable. We are at the pop-up event here in Madison, Wisconsin with the Kaiser Automotive Group. Sean Kingery is with me. Sean, really excited about the event. So
It's amazing. A great event, great time, great weather. It's not snowing in Madison, so we've done very well.
and we have a great friend with us here today.
Great business partner, great friend, great everything.
Yeah, our colleague John Fairchild, the president of Fairchild Automotive Solutions, is with us today. John, welcome to the Fixed Ops Roundtable.
Oh, so glad to be here. I'm in the field with Kaiser this week, so this made perfect sense to come and have a little chat with you guys. Glad to be here.
All right. Well, John, you are one of the preeminent leaders in fixed ops training, and you're in dealerships all over the country. So I got to ask you to kind of get things going here. What are you seeing? What's new in the world of fixed ops? And now that you're here at Kaiser, what's your strategy working with Sean and his team moving forward?
No, that's a very good question. There's a lot new in fixed ops. Whether it be software, DMS. There's a new DMS that's taken the community by storm. There are various tools in the service drive that make it so much easier to present things to customers in a way that convinces them they have a need, and there's an urgency there. There's a tremendous amount of things that are tools at the disposal for dealers. And, but I will say that no kiosk or gadget or software or best practice or word tracks or anything works unless we work it. So really it all boils back down to fundamentals. And really the thing that's fundamental that has to be done in every situation is execution. All right, it's a buzzword, right? Execution. But if we don't have a cadence of accountability in the service drive, if we're not taking any training will quickly evaporate if there is not a rhythm, a cadence of accountability. And it's all about execution. So, whenever you ask me about how the Kaiser Group with this engagement, with any new engagement I have, the beginning moments of it are all about the setup. Okay, so we got to get things set up to where it's easy for the service advisor to do their job, and they can really implement what we're trying to do. But it really boils down to execution. So I'm not going to ever try to brain dump a massive amount of information on any engagement. But what I will do is to make sure that we take each process and through that cadence of accountability, make it a religion before we get to the next process. Oftentimes on the service drive, it feels like I'm trying to take a sip of water out of a fire hydrant, right?
Yeah.
It's coming at me really quick.
Right.
So you got to have some disciplines in your execution. And there's really 4 disciplines of execution that I promote as an operating system. Within that, we can accomplish our goals.
I love it. Sean, you've had a lot of choices out there who you could bring in here to Kaiser. And John talks about the technology. I know you've already started bringing a lot of the new technology to make sure that these people who work at Kaiser, your team, have the tools. Talk to us about your past relationship, how you met John, and some of the work you did that kind of brought him here today.
Sure, absolutely. So John and I met each other probably 4 years ago, 3 or 4 years ago. Actually, I was in Florida. 4 years ago, yeah. I was in Florida. We have a mutual contact through MSX, who I reached out to him, and he gave me John's number, and then the world changed as we all know it. And it elated a little bit. John was very flexible with that. And then we rolled it out. And as everybody knows, we had 22 stores in Florida, and John was an integral part of that. We had huge growth, like monster, life-changing numbers growth. And it's funny, as I talk about in some of the panels over the last couple of years, Ted, we would do a 3-person interview where we had 3 people interview the same exact candidate. And it was 2 out of 3 rules. And I may not have liked the candidate, and there was those examples. But if John and the other person interviewing liked him, we would hire. So that's why John hates the term vendor. So we don't call John a vendor, we call him an artist. Because he had an equal say, and he was really part of our growth. He was a big part of our growth.
That's huge, the fact that John would be a part of that process and bringing and onboarding people, at Kaiser Group. And so I would imagine great results, and you saw that there with John, and that's why you brought him in.
I did. And, I think ultimately the idea was to bring John in at Q1, Q2, somewhere around, and it ended up being that we were going to do Q3, Q4 segments, but it's working well. The timing has worked out well. We've got Traver installed, we've got X-Time installed, and again, I'm a big process guy. Everybody knows that. That's my key word, I guess, in life is process. John is hard on processes, and John will talk about that, throughout segments, that it's you need accountability and you need the same thing. it's not the same at every dealership, but you need to be able to walk into a dealership and experience the same class of service.
So, John, you are working with each of the Kaiser dealerships here throughout Wisconsin. And as Sean just said, making sure that the customer will get that same Kaiser experience at each store.
Yeah, no, the Kaiser way, if you will. So, and to expand on that a little bit, Sean, is, it's not going to be exactly the same in each one. And it's not a cookie cutter, and there's different franchises. So we try to make it a thing where a customer can count on a similar quality experience.
And you talk about process, and I know you're the best at that, okay? You're very good at getting people on the same page, understanding the why, asking the right questions. Talk to us a little bit about the process and how you're going to be implementing that here at Kaiser.
Yeah, and with any engagement, I think the way to have a quality engagement is to really get the input from the team members. Nobody wants to be dictated to, right? And if I can get the words out of that person's mouth of what they need to do to get to that next level, then we can provide the help they need, and we can encourage them to get there. But again, it's all about accountability. We got to have an execution plan so that everybody is held accountable.
Sean, you and I have talked about this in the past. Nobody likes role-playing, all right?
Right.
Yeah, role-playing is so important to what the service advisor does, and nobody does it better than John Fairchild. Talk to us about the role play and some of the things you've done in the past and you'll be doing here.
Absolutely. And I admit ultimately myself, I'm not a role play guy. I don't like it. I don't enjoy it. I don't want to do it. He does make me do it. But John also makes the people do it when he makes fun. It makes it a fun time to do it. He videotapes it. We grade each other. There's spiffs. There's contests at the end of it.
Really?
Monetary, good things like the rainbow. And I know John's got stories of the people that didn't want to do it the most win those contests. It's very unique.
That's true.
That's one of John's, again, walk-arounds are big. Role-playing is big. It's not our comfort zone. We're not marketers or service managers. That's not what we do. John does a great job at that.
And let me add it to that, Sean, is the other things we got coming down the pike that are really going to make this a thing that people execute. And speaking of role play, is video role play. So our service advisors will get a video of a scenario. Maybe it's a heat case. Maybe it's how do I present this job. Maybe it's this customer is tough to handle in one way or another. And then what they have to do is to hit reply and video themselves how they would handle that customer. And so a couple things happen. It's very engaging, and they can do it at their own timing. And so I'm hopefully not interrupting their day, but it gets the training in. And again, everybody gets to see how the other person responds. So if I'm a superstar, then I can maintain that status. But if I see somebody that's got some more game than I do, now it makes it real. Now maybe I can implement that into my strategy.
John Fairchild is here this week working with the Kaiser Automotive Group here in Wisconsin on the drive, working with their various dealerships. Last point, John, Ed Roberts, our good friend, likes to say that nobody wants to be trained, but people like to be developed, all right? Talk to us and speak to us about that, because you are great at developing the talent that Sean's got here. Well, you make them even better.
I mean, here's what I know, and through my own experience, and believe it or not, I've been in the car business for 43 years, is that if you don't want it to be, then it's a dead-end job. But there's a career path. Everybody started somewhere, right, Sean?
You got it.
And it takes no more pride to see somebody climb that ladder and do that job excellent that previously they had no experience at. So, it is a career path if you want it to be. That's the beautiful thing about the car business. I know plenty of people that started out mopping the floors and now they're dealers.
Yeah.
No exaggeration.
Right. Very well put. Everybody, John Fairchild from Fairchild Automotive Solutions with us here today at the pop-up. We're with Sean Kingery in Madison, Wisconsin at the Kaiser Automotive Group. Stay with us. We will be right back. Welcome back to the Fixed Ops Roundtable. I am Ted Ains. We are at the pop-up event in Madison, Wisconsin at the Kaiser Automotive Group. Sean Kingery is here, and Sean, I'm excited. We're going to talk about a topic we haven't discussed before, which is the sales to service handoff.
We are. You know, it's a really big subject, and we mention it a lot on a lot of our panels that it's a key thing, but we don't do a great job at it. Nobody really does. Matt, I'll let you go and introduce yourself as well.
Hi, I'm Matthew Kufal. I work for Kaiser Lincoln now. We just started to put up a whole brand new building just for Lincoln. I mean, essentially what you're going with is exactly what we're trying to get across, is that the service to sales doesn't really hand off, or sorry, sales to service.
It goes both ways, though.
It rarely actually happens. So, there is a little bit more of an immediate process to get that started, though.
And what a beautiful facility. You gave us a tour yesterday of the new Lincoln showroom. Fantastic. But I noticed, Matt, that you've broken down, there are no walls between service and sales. Speak to that, because you mentioned yesterday to us that process of sales to service and vice versa handoff really begins not just at the beginning, but even before.
Oh, absolutely. Most of the time when I bring a client in immediately, and actually I think I did it with yourself actually, first thing I point out is the service department. I'm really big into these 4 pillars of human existence as Grayson, right? First thing is safety. I don't want to go anywhere without feeling safe. I wouldn't have talked to you today unless you would have been introduced to myself a day prior, or I wouldn't have known about this subject, right? I wouldn't have felt safe. How can I expect my customer to feel safe to go and talk to somebody in service without even knowing who they're going to talk to in the first place? So that's exactly why the first thing we do is a grand tour of the entire facility, try to introduce our very tight-knit team, and really just give it a face to the name.
It makes a lot of sense. And you've got that baked into the process, but really, you've been doing this for a while. Give us your background, how long you've been in business and so on.
It's actually a little bit of an interesting ride. I've been here for about 6 years. I'm working on 7 now. I started with a little bit smaller Ford dealership, decided that I really didn't like the way that they treated their employees. It just wasn't the right mentality for my version of what I think car sales should be. So I lucked into an interview with Kaiser, and I've been here ever since. And then once we got into the plans of opening the Lincoln store, first thing I said is, I know I want to be there. That's exactly where I want to be. Every single customer getting that extra little bit of treatment, the service department having one person to talk to every single phone call. Oh my goodness, that's essential. One person. If I'm going to call service, I'm calling Sean. I'm not calling Kaiser Service. I'm not calling Jim Bob Service in Timbuktu. I'm calling Sean Garza, and I leave him a message if he's not available. He might have an assistant. We have, 5 or 6 irons in the fire with so many different things going on. Hannah's been there for quite a while, working great. So just having that face to call, that person will take care of it, is a huge boost.
Our business is all about relationships. Sean, you talked about that with us on a number of panels in the past and here today at Kaiser. A lot of dealerships, Matt, do not do a good job with that sales to service handoff. And they want to do it. They say that they're going to do it, but they don't. Actually doing it, but you walk the talk. You actually do that.
I don't really consider it a process so much. And to go a little bit further into my background, before this, I was a ballroom dance instructor for 12 years. So I was never in a big corporate structure. I didn't have 400 employees to introduce to people. I had a team of 5 or 6 teachers, 2 or 3 office staff, and maybe 1 manager who you would rarely see. Because guess what? They don't dance. So when you have a structure like that, you tend to just automatically introduce your family, the people you're working with. When I was working at this building, it's funny, we had Alex and Jessica here.
Yeah.
They were my 2 go-to people every single time.
Really?
Whenever I made a car sale, I would always give them either Alex or Jessica's card and say, these are my 2 service ladies. Every single time I have an issue, they're going to be the ones to take care of you, because every single time they get it done. This is who I would recommend you contact. You can call the general number, but this is what's going to get it done. And every single time they would feel so much more comfortable just walking into our service department.
I love the fact that you say it's not really a process. You're almost doing it instinctively, right? And that's really part of, you've got it baked into what you do every single day. Speak to our audience, the folks who are watching today, who would like to get a process, if you will, to do that sales to service handoff. What are some of the things you would recommend to them?
Well, first and foremost, learn the names of all your service advisors. Know your team, know who you're working with, what their strengths might be, and maybe some of their weaknesses. If there's something that they're not great at getting to immediately, maybe we should take it to somebody else who's got, free schedule all the time, or however it might work to your advantage. But the whole point is, if you're going to even remotely try to make this a process, the easiest way to have it is to get it done immediately. Your customer walks in, first thing you do, welcome, Mr. Customer. I'm Matthew Kufal. Right over here, we have my office, and then right on the opposite end over there, that's our service department. So after you take the vehicle home, if you have any issues, that's right. That's right. You got to use that every time, right? I like that. After you take it home, you're going to talk to, and usually I would go Alex or Jessica, and go and talk to them at the service lane and schedule your first appointment. And if you don't want to get taken care of that way, we've got 5 or 6 other advisors.
It's fantastic. In fact, I mentioned yesterday when we came into the Lincoln showroom and you introduced me to Matt, okay? One of the first things he said is, let me give you a tour.
Correct. Absolutely.
And obviously, I'm not coming in here in Wisconsin. I didn't come in to look for a car today, but I'm still getting that tour. Okay?
Absolutely.
And you bake that in, and I like a lot of the ingredients that you've got that help make it fun and enjoyable for the customer.
Absolutely. And again, that goes back to the 4 pillars that I really tend to focus on with just about anything I do in car business. You have safety, connection, autonomy, and meaning. Safety, you have to feel safe to do anything. Connection, you have to have a community or a network of people that do the same or like the same thing. You have to be able to do it yourself, and it has to mean something to you. So if you can hit all 4 of those chords, they're not buying a vehicle, they're really just continuing in their own life path.
Fantastic. Sean, anything you'd like to add?
No, I wish we could coin Matt and take him to all of our stores. And that goes industry-wide. We have 8 different service departments. We have some older stores, and Sean Baxter spoke at the beginning, that we have stores that we're building new ones because there's no service drives. We have some old stores that we purchased in northern Wisconsin that physically don't have service drives. So the sales or service handoff, or they're in separate buildings or whatever. But it's still a struggle. Matt does a great job of it. That's why I asked if we could put him on the panel today. Yeah. Because again, he does a great, we all talk about it. We've talked about it, totally, myself, Ed, we've all thrown it, Robert, Sean, we've all done it. We don't do it, but we talk about it like we want to do it.
Yeah, great point. Matt, final thing for today. Advice to your peers who are watching today, the dealers, the managers, anything you'd recommend to them in terms of this sales to service handoff, things that got to be done.
There's a couple of things that everybody is going to harp on at all times for getting the process done the correct way. I don't have a magical equation. I can just tell you that I prefer to be introduced to the person that I'm going to have a relationship with. And that's all. If I know you, I'll talk to you.
Yeah. Speaks volumes, okay? It does. And it speaks volumes if a dealership does not do it.
Exactly.
Everybody, great information, Matt. Stay with us. We're at the Fixed Ops Roundtable pop-up event here at the Kaiser Automotive Group in Wisconsin.
Hi, I'm Darren Gresseth, President and CEO of BG Products, and I'm excited to show you why BG Products is the ideal partner for dealerships around the world. For 50 years, BG has led the industry with innovative solutions to automotive challenges, but it takes more than great chemistry to be the industry leader. Today, we have over 50% of the market share among new car dealers in the United States. In fact, an independent study found that 5 out of 6 U.S. dealerships choose BG products over the competition. Our integrity, dedication, and investment in people are at the heart of our continued success. BG maintains the highest standards for quality assurance, environmental management, laboratory competency, and health and safety management through our ongoing certification with ISO. Our BG Proving Ground experts are dedicated to field support and advanced automotive testing. The facility includes 9 full-service automotive bays and 3 dynos, which provide real-time data. This comprehensive testing fuels our constant drive toward innovation. From service and parts managers to service advisors and shop technicians, BG is committed to the ongoing training of automotive professionals. Award-winning digital training solutions like BG Certified, the BG Tech app, and the BG Advisor app are available 24/7 in the palm of your hand. BG reps get first-hand experience through our internal training program called BG University at our headquarters in Wichita, Kansas. These reps in turn provide comprehensive training to your staff in person right on your service drive. 30 miles away, sitting on 40 acres in El Dorado, Kansas, are BG's manufacturing facility, distribution center, and tools and parts warehouse. BG's custom-built, one-of-a-kind manufacturing facility spans the distance of 3 football fields and is where high-quality BG products are manufactured and packaged. Just south of Wichita, in Derby, Kansas, our BG Automation Division and Certified Machine Shop manufacture the BG tools and equipment that are a crucial part of each BG service. BG doesn't stop in Kansas. We provide what no other company in our segment can: dedicated, full-time BG experts in dealerships across the world on a weekly basis. Our BG distributor network spans the globe and is supported by a hard-working corporate team in the Midwest. With award-winning training, unbeatable customer retention programs, and accessible local BG reps, we ensure that BG distributors have everything they need to support you. BG is your partner beyond products.
Welcome back to the Fixed Ops Roundtable pop-up event. I'm Ted Ings. We are here today in Madison, Wisconsin with Sean Kingery at the Kaiser Automotive Group, joined by our great friend Owen Moon, the CEO of Fixed Ops Digital. Owen, welcome back to the Roundtable.
Yeah, thanks for having me. Glad to be here.
Yeah, so a lot going on right now. Sean, bring us up to speed. How did you and Owen get involved here at Kaiser, and what are the next steps?
Sure, absolutely. So Owen and I had a relationship prior when I was in Florida. He helped me with the 22 stores down there, so we had a relationship already. I was actually up at our Green Bay store with an old Chrysler rep of mine from 10, 15 years ago, who's now in charge of marketing for Chrysler for the United States. And quite frankly, he was handing me my lunch, Ted, about how we had no web presence in our service departments, which is pretty common. We all know that. Fixed operations is always way behind. Generally, websites are variable driven. So he says, hey, listen, I know a guy. I says, please don't tell me it's Owen Moon. And he goes, yeah, it is. I said, well, I know Owen. So I reached out to one of the brothers, one of the owners, and I said, hey, listen, we have a situation. We need some exposure. We need some help. He goes, I know a guy. I said, let me guess, Owen Moon. And sure as heck, Owen and Brendan had already spoke before.
So Owen, that's, like Sean said, that's really common because most dealerships' websites are new and used vehicle oriented with inventory. You really are in the fixed ops space.
Yeah, it's interesting. This is my 23rd year working in this space in automotive, obviously, and for many of those years it was all fair, right? That's where the money was. That's where everybody was focused. I think even dealer principals today, if they're not selling cars, they can be making a ton of money on the fixed side. But if they're not selling cars, it seems like something's off, right? They're just not quite whole until they get that nice that rhythm going on the sales side. So all we really did as Fixed Ops Digital when we started in 2018, and it was a new concept, and so we spent the first probably 18 months really just trying to educate and trying to bring this side of the business along on why it's important to really build out a good infrastructure on your website from a psychological standpoint, what customers are looking for. Because let's be honest, as you know, most of the campaigns or most of the strategies that we've seen on the service side are retention and customer loyalty type campaigns. And those are great. And I think people, dealerships need to really have a good plan for that. But where we really focus on is customer pay. And it's that customer that's out of warranty that now they're coming back and they're going, okay, I don't want to overspend on service. So what are my options? And unfortunately, you go to a dealership's website and there would be some cookie cutter content that came from the website provider, or maybe some OEM content that they were, able to push out to all the, in this case, maybe Ford dealers, right? Say, hey, here's all your Ford content, go and throw it up there. But nothing really talked about the brand. And of course, Kaiser, with this great, community-driven dealership you guys have here, you want to get that out there, why you're different, and so that's ultimately what our mission was and what our mission is still today. So,
and Sean, you picked Fixed Ops Digital, like Owen just said, they are really in the fixed ops space. Tell us a little bit about that.
They are, Chad, and I got to tell you, so, first of all, again, we always say that Owen's not a vendor, he's a partner, and he is a good partner of ours. He's also not afraid to expose your dirty laundry. For example, we have stores that as you do a Google search, we're 11 pages down, and we're looking for 11 pages down, and that's where I was getting my lunch handed to me by the Chrysler rep. We're in Pulaski, Wisconsin, right outside of Green Bay, and we can't find our own dealership. And that's just it. He'll also tell you it's amazing. You go to your own website and you have 2 different coupons for the same service at 2 different prices on your website.
Yeah, consistency is everything. I think trust is a big thing with this side of the business. We talk about all the time. A lot of the other, Fixed Ops Roundtable, professionals that are on here talk a lot about that, right? Just needing to have trust with the customers. And when you don't have the right type of pricing strategy, when you're not being transparent and giving the customers all the information, it does create a wedge. And so if we can just do a little bit on our part to help get that on the website, I think it goes a long ways, in that entire customer interaction. From the time they start on the website and are looking to the time they set the appointment and now they're in your shop getting the service done. We want that to be a great experience all the way through. And so, we kind of start that, but by no means are we the ones finishing it. That's up to you guys. And that's where we try to find the good dealerships to partner with, because we feel if they really care about customer experience, that we will be a good play for them to be able to get that out on the website and then let what we're talking about carry into the actual, appointment, that type of thing.
So Owen, this is a great incubator, great example, because Kaiser Automotive here in Wisconsin has 8 dealerships. Are these some of the things that you're going to be working on with them, as you roll into the stores and get going?
Yeah, I think a lot of what we do is really, really early. And then at that point, it becomes a lot of maintenance, right? Because what happens is when we go to our websites and we don't see the type of infrastructure that we're looking for, luckily our Spark platform, which we call a website service experience platform, it is designed to do just that. It's to kind of take them from, A to Z very fast. And then not make them have to do a lot of manual labor or manual work on it. It's not really set and forget it, but a lot of it is automated and things like that. But what happened was Sean did a really smart thing. He championed one of his service managers per brand, right? So Ford, GM, and then Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, Ram, and those are the people then that are working with my performance team to make sure that we are showcasing the right offers, that we have the right pricing. I've heard too many horror stories of, dealerships that have 2 or 3 of the same brand and they're trying to undercut each other on price and things like that. And that's something that was important to Sean, was just to make sure that we didn't have those conflicts and that friction in between the stores, because the customers will feel that, right? They'll understand that, hey, why am I getting charged $10 more for this service when your other dealerships over here, selling it for less, right? So,
Owen, tell us a little bit more about what Fixed Ops Digital does. Beyond this, I know you're great because you've managed to bring in some of the best, most usable widgets, at the dealerships and establish them on the website. Talk to us a little bit about those things.
Yeah, it's all about a process, right? So our Spark platform creates the foundation. It brings everything to the website. It's a great way to sort of bring it all together for the customer when they get there. But you also have to try to drive people into the website. And so we've got different strategies for that, with our content, kind of organically bringing people in. Also with paid media and social marketing, obviously social media has become a really big way that we can drive those customers in. And the nice thing about service that I like from the marketing standpoint is that it's demand driven, right? You're not going to just get up one morning and go, hey, I'm going to look to see who's going to fix my brakes in 3 weeks when they go out. Nobody thinks like that, right? So I have a problem today. I got to get that problem fixed. Let's make sure that your dealerships are showing up and getting that exposure so they can make a decision to come see you guys. So that's some of the things that we are also working with.
I love it. Yeah. Owen, last question for today at the pop-up. What do you see as you look out for the balance of the year on the horizon? Any big announcements? Any new features? What do you have coming up?
We spend most of our summers focusing on features and development and that type of thing. So we're finishing up a couple new things that we're adding into the Spark platform that we're rolling out. And we're super excited because as the fall season kind of comes Everybody gets their kids back to school. They're done with vacations, and now they're really kind of digging in for that last push of the year, heading into 2024. That's where we get busy, right? So all of a sudden, you've got conferences. I'm traveling around to a few different events to speak, and just kind of revamping it back up now that the summer months are over. As you can see, we talked a little bit about the weather here. Snow's going to fly here, so my golf game is about ready to shut down for the year, and it's all business at that point. So.
Well, gentlemen, congratulations on Kaiser Automotive Group and Fixed Ops Digital coming together, and great success to both of you. We're here with Owen Moon from Fixed Ops Digital. Stay with us. We're at the Fixed Ops Roundtable pop-up event here at the Kaiser Automotive Group. We'll be right back. Welcome back to the Fixed Ops Roundtable. I am Ted Ings, and we are at the pop-up event in Madison, Wisconsin with the Kaiser Automotive Group, meeting with the people of Kaiser. Sean, exciting what we've seen so far.
It's been a great day so far. So let me start by letting the tech panel, we've got a small one, introduce themselves. Stephen, go ahead.
Hi, I'm Steven. I'm our transmission tech here and been here for about 8 years. I've been climbing up ever since I got here, and it's always a different day here at Kaiser. So, my name is Brad. I'm the shop foreman for the car shop here. I've been here for 32 years. Pretty much do everything.
My name is Andrew. I've been here since 2019. Kind of like Brad, do a little bit of everything. A lot of sunroofs, a lot of interior stuff, electronics.
Well, love it. Brad, a lot of technicians here, and a great career path we've heard so much about from the leadership here. And so I got to come to you. You've been here quite a while. You're shop foreman in the main shop. Tell us, what is the secret sauce? Why do people come here and stay such a long time? Obviously, it's got to be a pretty good place to come to work.
Yeah, it actually is a pretty nice place to work. There's a lot of reasons. I mean, it's a great company. Mainly, I really love it because our shop is so big. So many dealerships, you're in like 4 or 5 stalls and that's it, where we have over 40 in the car shop alone. So just other times when, other shops are slow and everything else, we still have the business, to keep working, make, good paychecks. And overall, it's a great company.
And Brad, busy place. When we got here this morning, I saw when the service doors opened up, you had customers waiting to come in. I see vehicles all throughout. You've got cars, you've got separate truck shop. It's a lot of activity happening here in fixed operations.
Yes, it is. Yeah, like I said, we're extremely busy right here off the bell line. Like I said, like you said, they're stacked up to get here in the morning.
Sean, there's obviously a culture here at Kaiser Automotive Group. Speak to us a little bit about that, because that's something that you're a big part of.
So that was one of the reasons I actually chose to be at this location. The reason I moved to Wisconsin. It wasn't just for the beautiful faces up here, I promise. But, as you go around the store, we talk about it, that there's all over the walls the 30, 40-year plus employees. And that is a culture. It is a culture for everybody to get used to. And it's a good environment. As we have service managers throughout the group, there's a culture. There's a different environment in each store. Each store is unique. But again, I can walk through the shop and talk to everybody. That's what we do.
Andrew, so you're actually fairly new, right? With some of the other folks who've been here a longer time. Talk to us about that culture, from your perspective.
I mean, as soon as I got here, it was very apparent that taking care of the customer is definitely number one. There's a saying around here, fix it right the first time. So that's something we really focus on. Doesn't matter if it takes an extra 15, 20 minutes to an hour, whatever it takes to get the job done right. That's really one of the things we really try to drive home here is to fix it right the first time.
I love it. And, that culture speaks volumes about the organization. You've got people who I would imagine didn't start off in the same position that they are today, but they've risen within the company. Brad, you've got a lot of folks who work for you in the organization. Talk to us a little bit about that culture from your perspective as well.
Well, maybe we are recognized here, and actually a lot of other dealerships, other shops, when they can't fix things, send things to us because we do have, extremely experienced technicians. We really know what we're doing. We've been trained really well. That's about it.
Sure. Also, Stephen, a normal day at Kaiser, okay? You're an up-and-coming person here. I think, what was the phrase that I heard you say?
Becoming
superstar. I use that phrase. Stephen, what does a normal day for you look like here, at
I usually get here, I try to get here about 15 minutes early each day, grab a cup of coffee, come in, go into dispatch, see what he's got coming in for the day. Usually by 7:30, we've got 5 or 6 tickets sitting on the desk. If I don't have anything carried over from the day before, like I said, I'm one of the transmission guys, so when they come in, usually I'm the one or one of the other techs gets those. And whether it's road testing with customers right away or, just coming in and kind of getting to work kind of thing, it's always something different. It's never the same thing every single day, it keeps you on your toes for sure.
And Sean, I'm noticing the attitude also is a big thing, okay? A positive attitude.
Yeah, and again, we overuse the word, I think, sometimes, but culture. But dude, you walk through the shops and you can talk to the techs. And, you and I met with somebody just yesterday, actually, talks about people that steal out of other techs. And at some point, you're just robbing and stealing from each other. And it comes down to a money game. It's not about that. It really isn't. It's wanting to come to work. And that's just as important as anything else.
Stephen, do you see this as a place where you can grow, okay, within the organization? Because obviously Kaiser is in the retail automotive business to stay, okay? They've got big roots here. What does the future look like for someone like yourself?
Well, I mean, for someone like myself, I started 8 years ago and I was doing brakes, tires, and oil changes kind of thing. I was able to kind of prove myself. I had the opportunity to get into transmissions with our old shop foreman. Once he retired, I was working really closely with Brad already. Our management team here is very communicative. But yeah, it's just, you can walk in and you can talk to any of these techs. Like Shaw said, nobody's going to kind of shy away from you. Nobody's like, oh, I don't talk to that guy kind of thing. Like, it's all a really good group of guys together for sure.
I love it. And Brad, I hear that around the country with other technicians. Communication is a big part. It's one of the necessary ingredients in a successful shop. What are your thoughts on something like that?
Well, it definitely is. Like you said, it's these guys definitely have to really understand what the customer's concern is. If they don't, we need to get it figured out so we know exactly what we're looking for. Or if they can't quite figure it out, we need to figure out how to diagnose it or, get to the cause and what's going on. Not just assume or, do that.
All right, good. And Andrew, we've heard from Sean Kingery and the other leadership here at Kaiser that fixed operations, looking out on the horizon, is going to grow and continue to grow. Your thoughts on that as far as the importance in retail automotive of having a focus on fixed operations?
I mean, it's definitely important to be focused on, all your different operations. You want to make sure that you know your service side and your sales team and everybody's working together and that all your ducks are in a row.
And Sean, you brought a lot of new tools in to help the employees here, the team at Kaiser. Tell us about that.
Yeah, obviously we talked a little bit about earlier about you got X-Time, you got Traver, you've got now Service Drive training walk around, which will be upsells for the technicians. I mean, what's better for a technician to get a 4-hour job to start out with rather than just an oil change? And again, Traver plays a piece of that. John Fairchild's going to play a big piece of that. So that's definitely what's up next.
Right. Stay with us, everybody. We're here at the Kaiser Automotive Group with the technicians. We're hearing more from the people of Kaiser. We're in Madison, Wisconsin at the pop-up event. We'll be right back. Welcome back to the Fixed Ops Roundtable. We are at the pop-up event in Madison, Wisconsin at the Kaiser Automotive Group. Sean Kingery is with me. Sean, great event so far.
It's been an amazing event so far. Let me start. I'll let this panel, because they're such a big part of the change that we've done here. I'll let them introduce themselves. Judy, you go first.
My name is Judy Spearman. I'm Vice President of BDC Solutions at Traver Connect, and it's an honor to be here.
I'm Bob Gower, COO of Traver Connect, and it's always a pleasure to be with our partners.
And I'm Karen Rust. I'm Senior Director of Client Support. And again, thank you for the invite today.
So, Sean, this is not typical. We've been focusing on the people at Kaiser, but we've got the main partner here with Traver Connect. Talk to us a little bit about the last 6 months, why you brought Traver Connect in, what have been some of the wins, and maybe even if there's been any challenges along the way.
Sure, absolutely. Thank you, Ted. So, first of all, Judy and Karen and myself and Bob had a relationship when I was in Florida as well. It was small. It was they did some overflow phone calls for us. We're coming up here. The one thing that became very evident at the time was 7 stores and now 8 stores is that they had a phone problem. The phones are ringing off the hook, and we all know what that looks like in the old-fashioned service departments. And that's what we had, to be very honest. The phones were controlling us, which means the advisors are controlling our schedule. They're scheduling what's convenient for them and not what's convenient for us or the client. So ultimately, it was a phone call to Karen, to where it started. Good, bad, or ugly, here it is. And you talked about the challenges, Ted. You know, change is tough. Nobody likes change. Nobody likes change. Some stores have welcomed it and put their arms around it. Other stores have turned their back to it and fought it. But, we have significant growth since November. And realistically, Ted, the only change we've made is X-Time and Traver. We're doing some stuff now, but since November, those are the only 2 things we've had. And we're talking monster percentage changes.
Bob, Traver Connect works with dealers all across the nation. I've known John for many years as well. Is this an unusual story, or are these some of the challenges that you're hearing that dealers have today?
Yeah, of course, when you bring up the word change, people either run from it or embrace it. Most of them run from it, just so you guys all know that. So the real key there is to earn their trust. It's a trusting relationship. You're empowering us to work and engage with your clients, your customers, so the end consumer. And those consumer touches are so valuable today. And the challenges in stores like yours is that not enough people, not enough staffing to handle those calls. You got the best person handling the call, the ASM, and the worst person because they're busy multitasking, doing other things. So when you start to put those pieces together, I say the dealership in your world today especially is complex. It's very complex. So can we take some of that complexity away and let them do their job, which is face-to-face with the customer and doing status updates. So I think it's a great combination. And then I think the embracing part comes with the trust.
It does, 100%. If your team doesn't buy into it, it's not going to work. If the manager walks in the service drive in the morning and said, I don't want Traver to be here, you're done. It's not going to work. Everybody has to be buying. They have to drink the Kool-Aid in all due respect. That's what it comes down to.
That is true. Must drink the Kool-Aid. Have to be on board. Service managers, service advisors, everybody needs to buy in.
Right.
That's what we're there for, your partner.
Mm-hmm.
Judy, are these unusual challenges, the phones and not having enough people to answer them, I would imagine at the right time? Because in my world, I would believe there's probably a lot more calls for service than any other department at the dealership.
You're absolutely right. Pre-COVID, it was about, 2/3 of the amount of ROs, and now it's 100% of the amount of ROs that a store handles, maybe a little bit more. So, if you have 1,000 RO store, you're getting 1,000 phone calls a month. I mean, and that's on the low end. So, it is an absolute challenge for all the dealerships. Who wants to walk in to get their second most expensive item tended to someone who's doing this in their face, right? They're putting their finger up they're trying to answer the phone and trying to take care of people. It just doesn't work. You have to give it 100%. And the other thing to kind of allude to what Sean said is when we answer the phones, it is our only priority. It is what we do and what we do well. So our agents prioritize our client's schedule. And we definitely talk about the partnership. You know, we group text, we talk to the GMs at each location, the fixed ops directors, the service managers. It's a top-down system. So we have regular communication with them because that's really the engagement and the level of communication dictates how well we do with our partners.
Strong. Sean, you got here last fall. How were the phones being handled when you got here? Who was taking the calls for customers calling in, for example, for service appointments?
The advisors were when they could, and I don't want to be ultimately negative about it, but they were answering it what was convenient for them. If a client was staying in front of them, to Judy's point, you get the finger up, but wait a minute, are they on the phone, not answering the phone, or the phone just goes unanswered, period? And that was the biggest complaint, and you can see it in the CSI numbers as well. Again, and ultimately, they're scheduling what's convenient for them is on Thursdays, magically, nothing gets scheduled for Friday afternoons. Well,
Past 4 p.m.
Yeah, but nothing past 4 p.m. because the advisor wants to go home, and that's not what they want to do. And ultimately, guys, that's not how you run a business. I mean, it's a business. It's not about friendships. You do have to run a business. You do. And again, if the client, you have to schedule what's convenient for the client around their schedule, not our schedule.
Karen, as I look around the country at other dealerships, I look at other positions, we would never, ever even think of having, for example, the finance or business manager closing out contracts, dealing with customers, and then having to handle incoming calls at the same time. Why is it historically that in our business in retail, we've expected the advisor or the service consultant to be able to do all those tasks?
I think that's just the way it started
Yeah.
back in the day, right? And now we've developed BDCs, and we've now been able to help those dealerships, and more dealerships are taking on that and realizing they need to help. They realize that advisor cannot stand there and take phone calls and help that customer and do a 100% job at everything they do. So giving us the phones is taking that away from them, but gives them more time with that customer on the drive, and you get more personalized service that way.
Bob, I've heard in the past the phrase, no resistance, no sale. And certainly we've all had our share of resistance at the car business. But initially going back to what you and John have crafted in the beginning, the fact that you would have a business development consultant or agent handle the phone calls, there was resistance early on, but are you seeing that start to change and now more acceptance to the fact that we need to have a specialist as you are handling the phones?
You know what's interesting is if we've been doing BDCs for 30 years, right? We started putting BDCs in stores. So today, if you look at our business, we have a couple thousand stores. 98% of them are saying, we don't want to do that. What we want to do is have you take that off our shoulders. Can you manage the people? Can you hire the people? Can you train them? Because they got to be really good. Yeah. Where, you know, in these stores, when we answer the phone, it's just not picking up the phone. It's taking the customer through the fact that there may be OEM-specific or dealer-specific scheduled maintenance that are due. So if I show up for an oil change as a waiter with 80,000 miles on my Equinox, and I get here and it's not 45 minutes, but it's 3 hours because there's multiple flushes that GM recommends, then you lose that customer. Right. You surprise them. So the real issue here is the engagement itself, not just answering the phone, but the quality of the engagement. We're not rushed. As Judy said, we're focused. So given the fact dealers have options, we can either do this for them, we can do it with them as a backstop, or we can teach them to do it. Most of them still defer to, we'd rather you guys take it off our plates. Yeah. Because you've got other things. You got pickup and delivery, you got mobile service. It gets even more complicated this year and next year than it is this right now, currently.
Sean, this has got to be an exciting time for you because ultimately, Traver Connect is going to benefit your employees, the people, hardworking people who work here, and it's going to make them more productive, and ultimately, it's going to be better for the Kaiser Automotive customer.
It's spot on, Ted. I got to tell you, they may not see that up front. You're ultimately going to get a ton of feedback and pushback, and as we all know, as the Baxter said earlier, that you have a lot of 40 and 50-year employees here that are just used to doing it their way. But boy, after you install it, after you get through the bloodiness, as our good friend Owen Moon once said, you get through the wall and you take the blood, then you get past that, and everybody sees the light at the end of the tunnel.
Bob, last question for today. I know Traver Connect has a lot going on with the latest technology, and employing some of the best practices with people as well, who specialize on the phones, which are still a huge part of our business. What's out on the horizon, Bob, for Traver Connect? What can you give us any insight, anything, any future things happening that we need to be aware about or looking out?
Well, if you look at, just being here with the organization this week, you've got a lot of people here with high energy. It's really exciting to be in the lane with them on our visit while we're here at Kaiser this week with you guys. If you look, the majority of things we're doing currently is inbound. If I look at where the biggest deficit is today is still outbound. If you don't have enough people to take inbound, how are you getting the outbound? And outbound to me is redefined today as retention. So every OEM is looking for certain retention numbers. No matter who you are, you're looking for certain, and every different rooftop you have.
Money-wise, too.
Money-wise,
they're putting big money behind.
But at the end of the day, if you look at keeping that customer long-term, and we know we have a defection rate of, 60% of our customers over a 10-year period. If we could keep that at 70%, it would be a killer for us for new car sales, for servicing vehicles. And I think the Baxters put it well when Sean said there are more cars with 12 years old in this marketplace than ever before. So I'm not calling today. Just so you know, we very seldom take an oil change call today. The calls we take are very complex. So if you look at this, where we're going next is helping the customers through the complexity of the call itself, setting them up properly in the lane. They're more than oil changes. AI is going to struggle a little bit there, but we know that AI is a play. So it's a little bit on the horizon because we know we need it. But outbound retention to me is really important. And that includes a lot of other things like pickup and delivery and mobile service. And you have enough people in the dealerships to handle that because your customers are going to start expecting it, right? So as we continue to grow with our stores, we're like 1 or 2 steps ahead of where they might be, so we can provide those services where they might be a little shorthanded. So today, if I look at just pickup and delivery, we talked about a little bit last night, big stores at 2,500 ROs are doing maybe 5 a day.
Right.
5 a day, because that's their capacity, right? It's not the shop capacity, it's their capacity. So we're helping them grow through that. And there's more to come.
All right. Great information, exciting times. We're here, everybody, with the Kaiser Automotive Group, with the team from Traver Connect here in Wisconsin. Stay with us. We're at the Fixed Ops Roundtable pop-up event. We'll be right back. Well, Sean, it's been an amazing day. And, really, I want to thank you from the bottom of my heart for what you did here at the Roundtable.
Well, Ted, first of all, I want to thank you, obviously. I thank your crew. I can't say enough. Thank you to BG Products for sponsoring it and letting this all happen. I'm glad you got to see what we're all about up here in Madison. I'm glad you got to see why I picked up and moved from Florida to Madison. I know I got a lot of questions about that and a bump to my head. It's not just because I'm a Green Bay Packer fan. You got to meet the Baxters. You got to meet some more of the, you got
Baxters are wow.
Yeah, it's
your female leaders are
right.
Wow, the technicians and all the partners that you're bringing in as well.
Right, and all of our business partners, and that's what they are. They're not vendors; they're partners. And the fact that some of the employees got to meet them face to face with Traver and John Fairchild and Owen Moon and everybody else being here, it's such a huge deal.
Yeah, it's a huge win. And
yes.
We've said it'd be a tough act to follow Ed and Tully, but yet, Sean, you've succeeded with that and so much more.
Well, thank you very much. Again, Ted, we all owe you a lot for this. You were the one that bring Fixed Ops to the table. You brought a lot of us together. I wouldn't know who half these people were for you. So, thank you.
Well, we're very welcome, and thank you as well. We also, again, want to thank BG Products. BG Products, the leader, partners beyond products. For more information, visit them at bgprod.com, bgprod.com. Sean and I are here today at the Roundtable. We are looking forward to our next big 4-day event. Sean, it's going to be our 21st Fixed Ops Roundtable.
It is, and I'm got a few panels coming up. I'm looking forward to them. Looking forward to setting them up. I'm looking forward to talking and sharing and experiencing and learning all at the same time.
That 4-day event, everybody's coming up on September 18th through the 21st. If you don't have them already, get your complimentary tickets at fixedopsroundtable.com. It is the Woodstock event. Are you dressing up for this one?
There are some shirts and some wigs and some glasses and Tilly and I and Ed and Amazon. We'll just leave it at that.
All right. So on behalf of Sean Kingery and the Kaiser Automotive Group and BG Products, I am Ted Ings at the Fixed Ops Roundtable. We'll see you in September at the big event.